Out in the countryside, the UN has already fired the first shots to ward off an assault on Bambari. But the town itself is divided between rival militias. Muslims live in the centre of town, the Christians on the other bank. Civilians protected by soldiers of the United Nations. 23 years after I watched the UN fail to stop a genocide in Rwanda, I've come to Bambari, where the Blue Helmets tried to avert tragedy in Central Africa. Every burned building here speaks of lives erased when the country descended into sectarian massacre in 2013. Civilians slaughtered, hundreds of thousands displaced into camps. Now, amid fears of renewed violence, there's no hope of going home. Leave here? I don't think so, this man tells us. Here we're protected by the United Nations. Civilians are facing renewed terror from warlords. These are Christians, but it's not as simple as just a battle of religions. Numerous warlords fight for power and wealth. Veronique's husband was murdered, leaving her to care for 5 children. Madeline lost her husband and 3 of her 5 children.
They were killing people. They killed 2 on a motorcycle. They were going from killing to killing. It created a panic. Some people even lost their children as they were running.
One name kept cropping up here, a Muslim warlord they blame for the most recent attacks. What about Ali Daras?
His name creates fear and terror. Even now, here, when he sent his men to Bakala, all the people ran away.
It wasn't hard to find Ali Darasa. He and his bodyguards lived directly opposite the UN HQ. Guns are supposed to be banned here. But try telling that to these men. The UN is unwilling so far to provoke a conflict over this. The fighters are Muslims from the Pul ethnic minority, whom Ali Darasa claims to protect. You portray yourself as a protector of the people. But there is another view of you, and that is that you're a ruthless killer.
All is clear. Everything that happens is reported by people. If I was a ruthless killer, people could not live peacefully near me.
The UN escorted us back across town to meet Ali Darasa's enemy, the leader of a Christian militia also accused of atrocities. Meet General Gaitan and his deputy, who calls himself General Tarzan. The fighters hid their guns while we were there, but General Gaitan was blunt about his own role. Are you a warlord?
Yes. I have thousands of men, ready to protect the population.
The self-styled protectors thrive because the central government is weak. There are too few peacekeepers, and troops are of mixed quality. It's a familiar story of peacekeeping in the modern age. But tensions around Bambari are now so dangerous, the UN mission's top officials are flying in. Diane Corner is a veteran British diplomat, now trying to ensure this country doesn't slide into chaos again. The warlords are summoned. First, Ali Darasa. And then Gaitan, who waits in a room next door for his enemy to leave. In this prefabricated office, the international community struggles to make peace. Diane Corner tells them the UN is willing to fight.
I'm giving very clear messages that we are going to do everything to prevent a battle in Bambari, that we are reinforcing our positions, that the UN is impartial, we're not taking sides with either one group or the other, and that we expect them to respect the civilian population.
In the protected zone, the old life of the lost villages shows signs of revival. A father studies, planning for a future beyond all of this. But the calm depends on the UN continuing to enforce its red lines north of here. Over the years, I've seen the failings of UN missions, sometimes catastrophically, for example, in Rwanda. And yet, standing now on the bridge at Bambari between the Christian and Muslim districts, it's clear to me that without a United Nations presence, there would be slaughter here. Fergal, Keane, BBC News, Bambari.